People are awful, aren't they? I'm an admin for a local Facebook group, and in post after post, I hear of how awful people are. They stockpile pasta and they ignore the floor signage that creates one-way systems in supermarkets, and they cut up cyclists when they're driving, and they cut up pedestrians when they're cycling, and they lie on television and they let their dogs foul the pavement. They make more money than is good for them playing football, and then they marry Spice Girls and evade tax. They don't comply with lockdown regulations while reporting their neighbours to the police for not complying with lockdown regulations. People are awful. We had someone try to post on the Facebook group back at the beginning of lockdown offering cannabis with toilet paper as a free gift. People are awful. Except that, according to Matthew 9, verse 36, that isn't Jesus's way of looking at people. I'm tempted to say, but of course he didn't have to admin a Facebook group in lockdown, but then I remember that Jesus knows us completely, inside and out, good and bad, social media and very unsocial. Jesus knows us completely, but he doesn't write us off. He has compassion. The Greek word for having compassion is splanchizomai, which should only be said when you're socially distanced from those in range of your saliva. Splanchizomai. It's derived from splanchna, which is the noun for intestines or bowels or guts. Jesus looked at the crowd and he didn't feel my sense of superior sneering. There was no disdain in Jesus. He felt compassion deep in his guts, in his innards, in his bowels. People are precious, and he gets that inside somewhere. For the record, I should probably say I get that about the folk in the Facebook group too. People are valuable, but people have a problem. They are harassed, and helpless, lost like shepherdless sheep. They were made to be led, to be cared for, to be kept safe. But they've been divided from the one who can give them meaning, divided from the one that can give them safety, lost from home, and it breaks Jesus's heart and bowels. They? We, because I'm one of the sheep, so are you. We move Jesus's heart. Let's make it personal. When Jesus looks at you, he has a soft heart, but a hard head. Compassion wedded to realism about your predicament and mine. So people are precious, people have a problem, but people have potential. They're like a harvest field. The image of the harvest speaks of anticipation, of seeing a glorious future of golden corn come to full flourishing. We see the world not as it is, but as our eyes are. Barack Obama said the fundamental decision each human being needs to make is whether to read our lives with a hermeneutic of despair or a hermeneutic of hope. Well, when Jesus looks at you, his eyes sparkle with hope. A soft heart, a hard head, and eyes full of hope for you and for everyone. This is a pivotal moment in Matthew's gospel. We're right at the moment when Jesus makes the switch from preaching and teaching and healing himself to commissioning his disciples to go and preach and teach and heal. He preached, he's about to get them to preach. He's taught with authority, he's about to send them out to teach with authority. He's driven out evil and healed all kinds of diseases. He's about to get them to drive out evil and heal all kinds of diseases. So Jesus is going to send the apostles out in chapter 10. But before he does, and let's not relax our support bubbles too early, here at the end of chapter 9, he gets the disciples praying. It's one thing for us to go and do. It's another thing entirely to plead with God that he would raise up people, including us, who are ready to go. Matthew Henry put it this way: it is a good sign God is about to bestow some special mercy upon a people when he stirs up those that have an interest at the throne of grace to pray for it. So how do you pray? Well, first of all, you pray with Jesus's soft heart. William Booth, the founder of the Salvation Army, was once approached by a minister who complained that the people in his area were stubborn and hostile. "I've tried everything," said the minister, "and nothing works." And William Booth waited a long time and looked at him and said, "Try tears." Simone Weil, the philosopher, had never heard of Black Lives Matter, but in the middle of the last century, she put it like this: if you want to know if someone is truly spiritual, don't listen to what they say about God, listen to what they say about the world. It is in relation to the hurting, grieving, abused, and disregarded that we discover whether we have hearts of flesh or hearts of stone. Second, you pray with Jesus's hard head, engaging with realities and truth, not ideologies and theories. Third, you pray with Jesus's eyes of hope, refusing the temptation to despair or become cynical. And finally, you pray for what Jesus told us to pray for, that God will send workers into the harvest field, that he will move hearts and minds and eyes to see that people aren't awful after all, but precious and lost and full of potential. So who are the workers? Clergy? Yep. Licensed lay ministers? Yes. A whole set of new people, some of whom will have titles we haven't even invented yet, who'll take the lead in scattered church and gathered church and physical church and online church and inherited church and new forms of church. Yes, all those people too. And you, because if you really pray the prayer for workers at the end of Matthew chapter 9, and you pray it with a soft heart and a hard head and hopeful eyes, before you know it, you'll find yourself in Matthew chapter 10 being called and commissioned and sent.